In a world that moves quickly and demands so much, sabr invites us to slow down. Sabr is not just waiting, it is trusting Allah in moments of ease and hardship, even when we don't understand the outcome. I want to talk about sabr or patience during difficult times. It is safe to say that we all go through some form of tests in our lives, whether that is that we're being tested with our health or it could be anything. But what's important is how we react in these difficult times that matters the most. One of the key qualities that we are expected to show in these times is how patient we are. And this is something that I really wanted to learn and improve upon. So I picked up this book called Gratitude and Patience by Ibn Qayyim al Jawziyah. The book is packed with practical advice and guidance, and I highly recommend this book. In this book, the author explains what patience actually means and the characteristics that one needs to be aware of that shows that you are being patient. For example, being patient and being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes hand in hand and shows the iman of someone, which is something that we all should be striving for. We want to show to Allah that we have high levels of iman and that we have high levels of belief, and therefore being thankful to Allah for all that we have is very, very important, especially in times when we are going through difficulty. And that is something that we tend to forget when we are faced with calamities. So it is important that we condition ourselves to be grateful at these times and that it becomes easy for us to recall all the blessings that Allah has given us and that we are so grateful for. I would highly recommend that you read this book to fully understand what it means to be patient. The book is also a very good reminder that we should only complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of our situation. By default, I sometimes find myself complaining to others only for the purpose of being heard. And despite knowing that I should be turning to Allah first, I tend to forget this in the moment. And this is something that I really want to be working more on. There are many actionable points that you can take from this book. I really want to focus on one key lesson and my reflection on it. I learned that taking relevant actions after asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help is really important. There is that misconception within our community that sabr is when you are praying to Allah and you then do nothing about it and you wait for Allah to miraculously change our situation. Although He has the full capability of doing things miraculously, it's really important that we do something about the situation and that we use all the blessings that Allah has given us in order to help us to get out of that situation. What's important is that by taking all those means, we then leave the outcome to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that is something that's not in our control and that is only in His control. And then whatever He decides, whether we like it or not, we accept it and that we know that this is in the best favor for us. And it is important that we accept that. There are so many actions that you can take, and this is something that I'm going to be doing as well in order to help me when times when I am going through difficulties and I need a reminder to be grateful for all that Allah has given me. The first thing that I would highly recommend that we do is to write down a list of trials that we are currently facing. These trials may be something big, it may be something small, it may be something that we are experiencing at home, at work, in our study, it could be anything. And write a list of those trials. Then, on the second list, write down all the blessings that Allah has given us, all the good things that we appreciate in our lives, everything that we see as a blessing that Allah has given to us that we are so grateful for. It could be anything from our sight to being able to walk, it could be anything. Write them down. You will see that your list of gratitude will be very, very long, in which case I would recommend that you give yourself 5 minutes to write down as much as you can. And one thing that you will notice is that your list of gratitude is way, way longer than the list of trials and calamities that you are currently facing. And that is something that you could be grateful for. Because at the end of the day, although Allah has given you some calamities that you may be thinking that is taking over your life, Allah has only given you a few compared to all the blessings that He has given us. And that is, again, another reason to be grateful for. And then keeping that list with you at times when you know that you are going through difficulties and that sometimes we may feel quite overwhelmed and we may be asking ourselves, when is help coming? It may be quite useful to have a look at that list. And I think that is something that would really, really help me, inshallah. Another step that you can take is to think about or make a list of all the actions that you can take in order to help yourself to overcome the trials that you are currently facing, and using all the worldly means that you have, that Allah has blessed you with. That is really important because it shows that you are not just waiting for Allah to change your situation, but you are doing something about it. And then act upon those actions, do those actions, and then leave the result to Allah, leave the outcome to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because at the end of the day, that is not within our control, that is within His control. And that is something that He will change when it's the right time. And that is something that we need to be content with. Now, the action might be something that we weren't hoping, but again, we need to be content that this is for our best, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never ever do anything that will not be of our favor. It will always be in our favor. We just might not be able to see it. And that is so important. I hope you have found this reflection very helpful, and I would highly recommend that you read this book. If you are planning to read books during the month of Ramadan, this is one that I would highly recommend that you get your hand on. Inshallah, I will be sharing my reflection on other books that I have read. So I hope to see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.